going up to see Jenny and surprise her with her $5,000 prize.
Jenny, congratulations. You're a Bunnings home ground hero.
Pretty honoured and humbled to be a Bunnings home ground hero.
It's overwhelming actually, it's humbling. It's a nice reminder about why I do this.
But yeah, just the whole sense of gratitude, man, and thankful to Bunnings and TNZ.
This isn't about printing. It's about better results with over 90 offices right across the country in residential, commercial and rural.
Whoops, running on empty? Enjoy a 6 cents per litre fuel discount at your local Caltex with Pumped every day. Ah, feels good, eh? Get it at any participating Caltex.
Nau mai hoki mai e te whānau ki tēnei o ngā whakatātai e ki ana ko ngā 2022 Bunnings New Zealand Secondary Schools Touch Nationals presented by Bayleys. We have our next match coming up. We have Hutt International Boys School going up against Otago Boys High School. And sitting with me I have the experts Maya Williams and Michael Kavanagh. Boys, how are we feeling about this match coming up? Kev, you must be excited. This almost being in and around your grade.
Yeah, it's always exciting to see the boys' grade coming from the men's grade myself. So this is the future of our sport. So it'll be cool to see what talent's out there today to know that our grade's in good hands.
Yep, and Maya, you've been since our first game that we commentated together. I've seen you. You've been running over to refs. You've been talking. You've been trying to figure stuff out. How's that all been going this morning?
It's cool just catching back up with them and just congratulating them on a great game in that first game. I tell you what, I'm not sure which team is just outside our tent, but they're excited for the game and they got me going after that call. Did you boys have calls with your teams?
I can't remember if we had a call. I think we had a little bit of a chant when I was in the high school arena, but as I moved into the Canterbury men's, it definitely changed.
Yeah, you try have George Albert Yonke as a coach and not have a call, mate. It was almost forced upon us, but I feel like it was good because it really brought our team together, gave us a bit of, what they call whakawhanaungatanga, so good to see. Hoia no, we just saw the refs' names, we did miss it, but Maya, can you talk to us about who we have on today?
There we go, Richie Heap, Caleb Downs and Brett Kimpton. Cab, you talked about liking the men's grade. Well, I like watching the males grades because then you get to see the top referees ref, and Richie's definitely one of those.
Always has a smile on his face, though, Richie.
Yep, nicest guy you'll find.
We have Hutt International starting with ball in hand. You can see them just working these mids here, going out looking for those extras on the outside. Well defended by Otago. And Otago, the last couple of years, across all grades, the skill and all that, they've come a very long way over the last few years, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's just a reflection of the program that they've got running down there. All of their mixed women's and men's, they're all in the development. They've all been in the development stage, and now that they've kind of got to the point where they've needed to, we're starting to see a few rewards for that system of the program that's been in place down there.
Yep, and it's right on time. COVID's starting to die down, so we're starting to get back into our big tournaments. It's good to see. Hoia no, we have Otago here setting up for their fourth. This will be fifth down here. Quite bunched in the middle. Can they find some space? They do find the scoop through. Unable to turn it into points, though.
You both hate it and love it as a referee. Like one part of I love watching the male game as it's just so quick from one end to the other. It's like at a sprint, but unfortunately when you're having to set that 7, that's a killer. But as you've seen there, Otago, just a beautiful set, over to the box, flowed into the field, great attacking set, just unfortunately didn't quite finish it off.
Yeah, you spoke about how quick the men's game is. I think that's why after high school I ended up picking mixed. Get a bit more of a break.
I'll tell you a story. My first ever Trans-Tasman game, Cav was in it. He got scored on about 1 million times, but he scored 1 million times. It was in Wollongong, I think maybe 2010. The first score in the first game was 11-12. I remember the first half, I ran up to the water carrier, who was one of my best mates, Gavin West. Shout out to Gav. And I said, Gav, I can't do this. I need to stop. You need to get... It was the fastest thing I'd ever been involved in my life, and I just wanted to tap out. I lasted the game, thankfully, and it was the greatest experience in my life, and it hasn't gotten any slower. It only got faster. I think in that Trans-Tasman, Cav, there might have been nearly 69 touchdowns scored.
Yeah, it was an interesting first game. It was obviously my first one as well, and obviously I missed a few tries because it was 14-10.
First one, was it?
Yeah, the first one was 14-10. But like you said, it was obviously the fastest brand of touch that I'd ever been a part of, and I haven't wanted to be in anything else since. So, as we see Otago boys here through their 2 experienced players with Will and Hamish, but referees picked up another forward pass off the ruck there. It's obviously something that they're looking for today, as it's crept across all 3 grades in the live streams that we've had on today.
Yep, and it's something that I've really liked, because they've been quite consistent around the board on it. So no one's getting an advantage from it. But here we have Hutt International just creeping their way forward, trying to find those extra little yards. We've got a scooper on this last one. He can't get outside of his mid, but what they have managed to do is pump them down into the 7. Chucking the ball away? Maybe?
Yeah, just a stupid area there by Hutt International Boys School there, just giving Otago an extra 10 metres, which is a 10 metres they don't need, as we've seen them go 2 sets here where they've been able to go line to line. So this is just going to offer them a little bit more strike attack as they're coming through the half.
Yeah, we have Otago. We know they've got pace, and we know they know how to go forward. So Hutt International will need to try and set this defensive line quick and early. They're able to do so. Can he get low enough? Yes, he could. Hutt International. They managed to D that one out. They're now making their way forward, but another... No, it goes the other way.
As we go to the replay, we just see there how the Hutt International boys player was able to step forward of the line, giving the ref no doubt that he did not make the line, or the ball wasn't a 50-50 call of being to the line. So great defence there by Hutt International Boys School.
Yeah, we see Hutt here setting up for 32. They run the peel. He does go back to that short side though. Unable to turn it into points. They'll be looking just to try and stack it here, and they do so.
Watch this set from Otago. This is where I think eventually they're going to be the reason why they win the game. That's 2 touches there and they're at halfway. That's just exceptional. Now what that means is, instead of just having 1 to work with, they've now got 2 to work with. These players that come on, they can set themselves up for a really good strike. That's just some great setting pattern that they've got going on.
Yeah, and not only defensively, you're forcing your defensive line to work so much harder when you're having to run so much. Does he get that down?
Oh, I want to see the replay on that one. We're talking about the NBA and the game 1 this morning. It might have been a good bounce there. Hopefully not for the ref sack.
Yeah, as we see Hamish there get on the back of the scoop, finding his mate Will in the middle, and there's no doubt about that there. He's able to catch it in 2 hands to be able to put it down as Otago take the lead 1-0.
Unfortunately, the 16 from Hutt International just turned himself the wrong way, so the scooper had him doing a bit of a pirouette. I'm sure he'll fix that up next time out.
Yeah, but like you said, that's just coming back to the pace in which Otago are playing this game. Hutt, they'll be looking to try and match that. Board down. Hutt International, they're on the board. Beautiful work there.
Yeah, as we'll go to the replay here to see how Hutt International answer back. He's checked back in. He's able to isolate that one defender who's gone inside, outside. Just kind of held on the line a bit there. Needed to come forward like we saw from Hutt International before. Unfortunately, he holds on the line and the referee's given that try.
What are you seeing, Maya?
Well, I kept quiet because I got the first call wrong on that being a bounce, and I thought that was a touch, and that actually was a great call. So, jeepers, me and you must have swapped glasses or something today.
Nice little check out there, but well read by the Hutt International winger. We can see here Otago, they'll be trying to set for 1 more here. They do go off the forward pass, maybe?
Didn't quite catch that call.
just a level of confidence here. I think Hutt are getting piggyback sets up the field. Oh no, we've got one for off the mark here. Just trying to ruck out too quick and just step forward. So for those of you that don't know at home, if you do not play the ball where you are touched, then it is a penalty to the other team.
We have Otago. They have a fully fresh set right on their 7 metres. They've only used one touch so far. They'll be looking to stretch this field, and they do. He's caught his man offside. All he needs to do is dive under, and he makes it. Just great identifying by this Otago side.
Yeah, just good eyes-up play there by Hamish. He's got a lot of nous to his game. He's been a part of the New Zealand youth system and recently attended the actual New Zealand Open men's trial to get a level of experience. So just great eyes-up footy there by the young fella.
The last 2 tries sort of been for the same reason. The toucher, the defending player making the touch seems to have got themselves in bad position at the touch, turning in as opposed to turning out and then getting spun around.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what happened there. It seemed like he went towards the middle in the link, but as we went to the replay, he scored that in the wing. So a little bit of a different point of the field to have your attack, but at the end of the day, it paid off. So props to the Otago boys.
Yeah, you can see he identified that the defender just caught himself out of position. So he caught the ball and just gassed his outside. He knew within a metre of his running that he was going to score that try. You could see the smile bright on his face.
Strong,
nice strong ruck.
As we see again, Otago going back to that corner where they got one before. Richie's having a talk with the referee here, asking if the player had made the touch.
Ooh, I thought try. What are the refs going to call? Oh, they're going to call the touch.
Maya, how important is the honesty of the players in those situations?
It's super important. It's super important, not just in that situation for that call, but it puts doubt in your mind whether that player is trustworthy moving forward. And there's only probably been 2 players, and names won't be mentioned, that I would back myself when the player and I have a difference of opinion. And there's other players where even sometimes when I see it may have been a miss, potentially like that one, that I'd back to the hilt because they're always honest. The great thing about our game in New Zealand is that the culture is around being honest, and it's almost the players' team themselves. If they have someone in there who calls a bit of a phantom, that
your own team's going to be going to be coming up against you, mate.
It's really cool, the culture that we have in the game, and I think that's just who we are as Kiwis.
Well, you know, Otago, they do get the ball back. Maybe a bit of karma for them there. It's been that's been one of the a play that's been coming up quite a lot, where they're faking that little peeler who's running in on that bus line, and they're running that ball. Kev, can you talk us through the significance of the movements or who you're latching in that move?
Yeah, I first saw this play when it was performed at one of the state cups over in Australia, and it's just a cool deceptive move when you're thinking that the 32 short's going to be coming, or the looper or the bus or whatever you call it in your province in New Zealand, but you actually just go behind the back to hopefully enforce that middle defender is going to be shutting on the looper that's going to be getting the 32 short, and then you've got an isolation of a 3v2 on that open side. So a good deceptive play, but unfortunately for the Otago player there, it was too deceptive and he forgot that he was dummy half and tried to score the try himself.
Oh no. Thank you for the explanation though. Here we have Hutt International, who need to get one back but unable to do so in that set. So Otago now.
Yeah, the Hutt International boys team, they've looked good when they've had flow going into their line. It's just when they kind of get a little bit lost on that fifth touch, when they're not able to perform anything on the back end of their strike dump, that they just look a little bit out of place. So they just need to get back to their momentum where they're looking good.
We have a scooper, but maybe a juggle in the ruck. Maybe one thing I think Hutt International might be able to do, or they could probably talk over in that halftime, is on that last, because of how good Otago's yardies are, maybe just pumping them into one corner, making sure your defensive line is set so that you're not letting them get as much yards as they are, because at the moment, Otago just have free reign up the field.
Kev, I'll get you to talk a little bit more about it, but the last 4 sets when I've seen them attack the Hutt team, they seem to be touching with their outside hand, which is obviously turning their body in, and where there wasn't an option, and they're almost creating an option for the attacking team when there wasn't one.
Yeah, I guess sometimes when you're looking at maybe the profile of the touch, that's probably their most dominant hand. So they could be thinking that they're a lot more stronger being able to touch in that hand. So it's something that in time you'll be able to coach out of them, but at the meantime they're probably going with what's comfortable. Or on the flip side, Otago are just doing really good at being able to isolate their shoulders or turn them in.
Maya, can you talk us through that call?
Yeah, so the ref was saying that the attacking player that was touched, that was in position of the ball, didn't get his body over the ball, and by body they mean torso over the ball, so it's just a turnover to the other team.
Does it have to be a simultaneous thing, or can you put the ball down and then jump over the ball?
Absolutely, as long as by the time that the dummy half picks the ball up, that your torso, your body's gone over the ball, that's fine.
Here we have Hutt International though on the attack, just looking for some open spots. They're finding it hard to get through this Otago line though.
Yeah, I think the emphasis that Otago put by winning that 7 metre space nice and early is what's helping them win that defensive line. It's giving their other connections through the line in terms of their link and wings able to time to be able to drop back and then lift up to put pressure on the ball players from Hutt International.
Yep, and as you can see here, Otago now on the go forward, and like you said, they're just not stopping. Traditional male yards. They've got a scoop up, can't turn it into points though. That's some good mirroring.
Ooh, might have been a little bit hard done by there, the Otago link. Number 2, Rotorua. If you see the defender already had his hands on Rotorua prior to getting to the ball. And, obstructed him really from being able to have a fresh crack at it. So, hard one to see for the refs, but got away with one there, the Hutt International player.
Yeah, I think it's something that Hutt will want to clean up at half-time. They're almost making their profile infield, and it's just good identification from the Otago boys that they're seeing that those opportunities are coming through the short side. Just maybe a little bit more patience with the ball when in the in-goal, but we can see that Fowler there, he's obviously got wheels to burn, and he's just very energetic, so he's just wanting to get that ball to someone to be able to score that touchdown.
Yep, and you talk about patience, it's going to be key in this game, especially in the second half, I think. Because though it's close at the moment, what I think it's going to come down to is it's going to come down to fitness and who can make the most yards from their 7.
Yeah, one thing from Hutt, when they were going direct through the middle, they were getting those piggyback penalties up the line. The moment that they've kind of slowed it down or gone to a sideline, they haven't really been able to execute as they wanted to. Great hands there by the winger from Otago there, though.
Yeah, great hands. You talk about wingers, and I know when I was playing, one thing you want from your wingers, no matter how ugly the pass is, you want them to be catching them.
Yeah, I think the thing that's best describes that is you just want an effort from them, to be honest, out there. Like, as long as they're making a determined effort to be able to A, catch the ball, or B, make the touch, then you can't ask for much more from that.
Yep. Now, one thing you may not be able to see on screen is the rain has started to come down again, so it's going to be a lot more wet. We probably won't see as many long balls, and saying that, I know in the men's grade, they throw them regardless of the weather.
As we see one there.
They give it away, but one thing they do is they block them down in this corner, forcing Otago just to work a little bit harder. You need your defensive line to be pushing up, though, if you want to shut down those yards. And here we go, Otago second touch already made 20-25 metres.
Big 10 seconds here for Hutt International. The last, before the half-time break, they won't want to go down by 2 going into the half-time break. Last touch. Nelly.
We need a good defensive set. Can they turn it into points? They do. Otago on the button, managed to turn this into points here. We see the scooper coming through. He's looking for his open player, checks it on the inside. You can see there, nice and easy, dots it down, pushes the lead out, 3 points to 1. Hoia noe te whānau, ko tae atu tātou ki te tō waingo tō tātou kemu Hutt International Boys School going up against Otago Boys, ko Otago kei mua I tēnei wā toru ngā piro ki te tahi.
We're going up to see Jenny and surprise her with her $5,000 prize.
Jenny, congratulations. You're a Bunnings home ground hero.
Pretty honoured and humbled to be a Bunnings home ground hero.
It's overwhelming actually, it's humbling. It's a nice reminder about why I do this.
But yeah, just the whole sense of gratitude, man, and thankful to Bunnings and TNZ.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
This isn't about long-distance calling, technology, or living overseas.
Do I have one more bid? Thank you.
We're going to go once. We're going twice.
And we are sold to the Kiwi phone bidder from Manchester.
It's about Bayleys finding buyers that others can't.
Ai, ko hoki mai anō koutou ki tēnei kēmu I Wanginui at Otago Boys High School mea Hutt International. We are here at the 2022 Bunnings New Zealand Secondary Schools Touch Nationals, presented by Bayleys, held here in Rotorua. In noho mai ana ki takutaha, we have Michael Kavanagh and Maya Williams. Boys, the game so far?
Yeah, looking at the game, like we see the scoreline being 3 touchdowns to 1, but don't take anything away from this Hutt International boys side. Like they've been gritty and determined to try and stay in this game, with Otago having a lot of the opportunities through the first half.
Yeah, I'm really surprised actually. The previous 2 games have had a lot of flow in them, whereas this has been very stop-start, a high number of penalties. It's not what I'd expect from a male game.
Yep, and one thing I think we've picked up on is, and the early mistake by Otago.
Not square there, so just the player, when you plant the ball, your shoulders have to be parallel to the touchdown that you're heading towards, and obviously his was angled towards the sideline more than it's allowed.
Yep, good opportunity here for Hutt International. They'll be looking to try and make as many yards. They're not in any rush though. They're okay to just try and set up and put themselves in a good position for this final touch here. They got a scooper. He checks out. Unable to convert it into points though. Otago, easy defensive set there.
And this is where I think Hutt International need to lift their leg speed a little bit more. Like give themselves as much opportunity as they can. These kind of lackluster 1 or 2 touches when they're exiting their box is really depleting their opportunity to have a good strike at the scoreline. As we see the opposite here, good yardage play here from Otago through Fowler again. He's found the end goal a few times today, but unable to find it that time.
I tell you what, I like the way the number 6 from Otago plants the ball. No one's pushing him over.
Ruck, eh?
Yeah, you wouldn't mind having a scoop off the back of his yards.
Yeah, that's Te Awa Katu Nicholas. He's only a year 10.
Wow. Watch out for him the next 3 years.
And I guess we'll see more of that with the scoreline being tight. The physicality will get a little bit more as they're trying to create errors through the ruck, as we've seen a couple already in the first part of the second half. As we see a good left to right, good lift by our winger there though to be able to shut him down.
Very good lift there. He just read the ball well. He knew it was going to that wing, so he just stepped up, took out that option nice and early. And here we have Otago boys making their way towards the box. Nice little extra yardies here. Hutt International need to be careful, may get caught up in the ruck.
Yeah, and I think that's just the difference of the 2 teams to start the second half. Otago being very direct, trying to get to their 5th and final, as we see Fawkes on the back end of a scoop, trying to find his player, and did he get to it?
I think so.
Looks like
nudged it away.
The confident kick back to halfway.
Sorry, mate. And look, I think that just comes back to the speed in which they're playing. And this number 9 for Otago, Hamish Fawkes, I mean, he's been on fire the whole game. You spoke about him already getting a shot, a bit of experience with the New Zealand Open Men's, having a trial with them, and you can really tell. I mean, he's just taking control of the game whenever he's on the field.
I think you can see it with their confidence, and maybe Maya as a referee, you might know a little bit more by able to visually see it while you're out there, but does it feel that when players are playing with confidence, they're more likely to execute better on the scoreline?
Yeah, it's No doubt. It's almost like they're doing things without thinking it. Everything's just autonomous. They've done it at a higher grade. They come back to a lower grade, and just that absolute clarity and what they're doing and purpose of what they're trying to achieve each time. Totally. You see it all the time, and it's really cool, particularly in people like yourself, Cav, who I sort of started my journey, and then you see them coming through the grades, and you see the confidence to when they become leaders and co-captain / captain like you did. It's really cool when you see these young fellas go on their journey.
But again, Otago just chewing up these yards whenever they're rucking out from their 7. We've got a scooper here, and he's found another hole. Can he get it to an open player? Yes, he can. Did he dot down? Yes, he did. That's another touchdown. Another try for Otago.
Love it. Another try. There we go. Got to get the old touchdown out of us. Change the rules, and they change the names. Otago here, I think the score's finally reflecting the dominance that Otago has had in this game. We're here at 5-1. Hutt International, we really want to hit back to keep themselves in this competition.
Yeah, we talked about it in the first half. Jake Fallow, he found the end goal about 3 or 4 times, but was only really able to get one pass to hand, and we've already seen twice in the second half that he's been able to kind of change that. As we see Richie go for a bit of a slipper in the background. Conditions like this must be tough for the referees at the same time.
It's terrible, particularly in the games where they're going horizontally really quickly. Like the lateral movement in these games, you're thinking they're going to go right and then they turn left and you want to be close. Particularly, you're really coached as a referee on your proximity to the ball and the touchdown. That's a real key aspect so that we can be making real credible calls when a player thinks it's a try and they see us right there and we call a touch. They're going to cop it if we're right there looking.
As we see Hutt International with a nice short ball, and there's that slam dunk again. We've got some more NBA players out here, folks, and that's the excitement that we want in the game at the same time, as we see a nice quickie outside of the middle, doesn't look back in. Defense is a little bit late on the shot, and just a great execution on the scoreline there by Hutt International Boys School.
I know we want the excitement, but he probably would have been running 2 laps around the field for me if he was on my team.
Yeah, you can see you'd expect those defensive players to be quite tight at the moment because the way the weather's playing out. It's raining again, unfortunate for Otago in that instance. So score now 5 points to 2. Otago ahead by 3, but still 9.5 ample time in this game left.
For those of you at home, I think we just saw a little bit of a different aspect to the defensive line there, where the player that made the touch looked to corner as far out as possible that he could, and the 2 that came under ended up becoming the middles. It's a little bit of a trend that we've seen in the game over the last few years. As Otago take a little bit of an opportunity here through those 2 players again, Hamish and Will, just a little bit of a show and go. Both players just losing their feet in the conditions out there, and Otago extend the lead.
Here we have all our supporters coming out to watch these games. As the weather's getting better, so the supporters' numbers are as well. And the rain again just starting to stop, giving us a bit of a dry spell here. Good for Hutt International. They go for that in the ball, but well defended by this Otago side.
Yeah, they'll be looking to maybe open up that play now. Both times they've gone short. We've seen that the winger or the outside person's collapsed in, so let's hopefully see try and get to a long ball play now.
Bit of a lollipop out to that left side wing.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit unbalanced on the field there. If they could execute that a little bit more right side of centre, that winger might have had a little bit more of an opportunity to get one in the corner.
I like this by Hutt International, though. They're finally sending some flyers out, not letting Otago get too many yards. And I think that was for offside. Yes, it was. So Otago off the hook there.
I think as a coach, you get penalised for offside when it's around the effort. If players are trying to get up to halt that momentum, as we seen Otago have in that first half. I think you'd way more accept that than just be rolling all the way back to your try line and let Otago in.
Yep, I totally agree with you on that one, Maya. That's the most effort I've probably seen from this Hutt International side on that orange zone D. But here we have Otago. They're going to go short side, and he's going to get under. The speed in which this Otago side are playing at the moment, they are just blitzing this Hutt side.
I just love it too. There was no slam dunk there, and I think you see the difference between the two. This player doing as he did, getting low, sliding it down, as opposed to the big slam dunk where I think that ball can slip out. Great try there by number 5 from Otago.
Yeah, we've seen Fowler on the end of most of his attacking being scoops, and this one time that he's able to have a live play, he's able to get one on the board for Otago.
Live play, what do you mean by live play, Kev?
Live play is when obviously you have the opportunity to be able to score the try rather than being in a non-live situation, i.e. being the dummy half.
And Hutt there with another mistake, just dropping the ball. So Otago now, we're into what we call the championship minutes here. The last 7 minutes, your lungs are going to be hurting at the moment as a player. And as you can see, Otago just making their way towards the box. But they can't get there as what was that, Maya, off the mark?
Not square. So once again, just shoulders not parallel with the touchdown line, the try line that he was heading towards.
And that could be the physicality of this Hutt International boys team. They've managed to disrupt the ruck of Otago a few times when they've been coming off their line, especially in the first half. So hopefully they can build a little bit more confidence on those little turnovers, as unfortunately they make a little bit of an unforced error themselves.
Yeah, I think it's that, and combined with that mental fatigue, just the lack of focus, thinking you're going to plant the ball and head off and have your sub and have your rest. It's about making sure you do the job you're supposed to and have your rest in the box, not before you get there.
We have Otago now 5 points ahead on the attack. They'll just want to keep doing what they're doing, just keep pushing, putting pressure on, trying to find those holes, and they find another one. Can they seek an open player? There's one right in front of them, dot down, another one on the board for Otago.
Yeah, great patience here from Chalice. He manages to pin his ears back, realises that the player's left his feet. He gets into the in goal, doesn't panic, and he's able to wait for a player to come to him. And that's number 12 there, Thomas O'Connor, getting his first try of the game.
Kev, in the half-time break, you actually talked up Will Chalice quite a bit and how great talent and upcoming talent he is. And I didn't really notice him in the first half, but he's totally dominated the second half.
Yeah, in a different role for this Otago boys team. So he's been fortunate enough to be selected as one of the wingers for the New Zealand under-20s group that will be travelling next year. So very pleasing to see that he's trying to upskill his game by giving it a go in the middle here for his Otago boys team and playing well as that.
Here we have Hutt now. They'll be looking to get one back with just over 4.5 to go. The lead is at 6 at the moment, so we have Hutt here. They're looking for that peel play. They go for the winger, can't get that ball out to him. Like we said, the weather, it's not getting any better down here.
Yeah, that could just be a reflection of how wet the grounds are, just not being able to get a grip on the ball to be able to get that ball out to the winger. The right option there from Hutt International. They've done well to make sure that they've bought that defence in of Otago boys. Just unfortunately that ball couldn't go to hand to get another try on the board for them.
Maya, talk to me about this rule. If I'm touching someone and I give him a little nudge and then he takes a step outside, is he out?
If it's not a hard touch,
yeah,
then and he steps out when he plays the ball, then yes, he is out.
So play doesn't stop once you make the touch?
No.
Good call, good to know. I'm going to be nudging at module next week, my friend.
I think your nudge is most people's shoulder barge, though, so that's probably why half of them fly out of the field. That was a good set of D by Hutt there. You talked about, Kimmel, earlier that they're sending flyers up. They really disrupted the flow that Otago had in that first half, and as a result got a turnover before they even got to the line. So really good, only 3 minutes to go, and probably out of the match here at 8-2, but that was really good to see that change. Great work from the coach and then for the players to be able to implement that.
Yeah, they'll be looking just to try and clean up some of the areas that they've had, both on attack and probably defence at the moment. That's all you can do in these last 3 minutes. Just work on those little things, trying to set up, making sure you're latching the right players on this attack. And just try and set up for the next couple games you have throughout the day.
We talked about momentum at the back end of the girls' game, and we saw Manukura come out after half-time and really come back into it against Hamilton Girls. And a little bit of the flip side in this game, we saw Otago get one just before the half, which gave them a level of confidence, and we've seen that on the scoreboard through the second half as they've been able to just extend that lead.
Let's see if Hutt can keep that defence up of disrupting the flow of the Otago team as they head towards their box to get some fresh players on.
Oh, it's going to be harder, especially within the last 2.5 minutes. They've been running all game, and the way Otago have been playing, they've been forcing this Hutt side to run on both defence and attack. And here we have folks back on the field. He's been very strong today. We've got a scooper and he's found another hole. Can he get it onto the outside? Oh, folks, unable to hold on to the ball.
I think the eyes lit up there. He got a nice little short ball he thought he was in and just unfortunately off the fingertips and couldn't regather it. As we see Hutt coming off their line, they just want to get to their transition here, make sure they get some fresh legs on, finish this game strong. I apologise that we haven't been able to give any names for the Hutt International Boys team. The sheet that we have here, the numbers are actually not reflecting the players that are out there. So my apologies to any family and friends watching for the Hutt International Boys team, as we see a nice little bit of footwork from the player in the middle there.
Just under a minute and a half to go. Otago, they start with a nice little 2 out here. They'll be looking to push towards their box, just getting some fresh legs on. They know they have the game in the bag. They'll be looking to control the ball, control their sets. Another strong ruck here by the number 6 for Otago. Offside, play on here. All he needs to do is find an open player. Well defended, I thought. Oh no, they're going to call the try.
Nah, touch.
Oh, but no penalty.
For?
Oh, I thought the scooper, when he come through, there was a player who made a touch, but I guess it didn't affect the play.
Yeah, that's it, exactly it. You try not to give teams 2 bites at the cherry. The player was offside, and the player's actions being offside didn't impede the attacking player from doing what he wanted to. So let's play through so we don't have a million penalties. And just unfortunately, there's some good defence by the Hutt International to get a touch at the end there.
So if we go to that play-through rule, what would construct them coming back to that advantage to give a penalty?
When you feel the offside player has forced the attacking player to go the way that he didn't want to go. So if you pick up left and you were going to come step back right, but the defending player has impeded you from doing that, then that's when we would go back to that.
Here we have Otago. Does not look like they're going to just lay down here. They find some open space. Can he get to the line before the defender gets to him? Yes, he can. What a way for Otago to finish off this game.
I think it's a good reflection of both teams. I said at the end of the first half that Hutt, they'd been gritty, they'd never given up, and then once again, right at the end of the game when they knew that there was nothing left in it, they still made sure that they fought right to the bitter end. As we see, Forks there with a little bit of a show and go, and then both wingers having a nice foot race to the corner. 2 big dives to finish off with. Just Otago too good in this aspect.
En koia rātou tātou kēmu ki te wāhanga ki ngā tamatane. Hutt International Boys School go down 2-9 to Otago Boys High School. Hoi anō, ka kite atu he tino pukenga o roto i ngā kapa e rua. E te whānau kaue haere tawhiti, he paku whakatāe haere ake nei, engari kia hoki mai tātou, ka hoki anō ki ngā kēmu e toru, e toi ana mo te rangi nei.